telecommunications advisor at the Norwegian Refugee Council. She joins us from occupied East Jerusalem. Thank you very much for your time. Can you just try and give us some context as to what impact this new communications blackout is having on the aid efforts and the attempts to try and get that crucial food and water into Gaza?
Well, we lost contact with our staff late yesterday afternoon and haven't been able to be in touch with them. The communications blackout is going to prevent and is preventing humanitarian agencies and the UN from coordinating any type of concerted response. The UN already announced that they would not be accepting that they wouldn't have the capacity or ability to take in any aid from Rafah crossing today because they don't have the means or the ability to distribute. Without having communications services, humanitarians are unable to find out where aid is needed, to find out whether or not it's safe to access those places. It's impossible for people who are trapped inside of Gaza, Palestinians trapped inside of Gaza, to know where might be safe, where they might be able to seek out aid. Really, this communications blackout is putting a halt to all humanitarian operations happening inside of Gaza, which is unbelievable when you think about the tremendous amount of humanitarian need that we've seen growing day by day over the last 40+ days. We desperately need there to be the resumption of fuel inside of Gaza so that telecoms networks can be up and running, so that aid can be delivered, so that bakeries can operate, and so that water can be pumped, so that people have access to clean, safe drinking water.
There was obviously logistical difficulties getting aid into Gaza before this communications blackout. Can you talk us through the stages? I suppose what you'll be calling for immediately would be for communications to be reinstalled. But beyond that, what are the stages here to get a successful operation of food and aid flowing into Gaza to the degree that it needs to be flowing in?
Yeah, well, there are a few things. First of all, we need there to be more aid coming in. On average, there were about 40 trucks that had come in per day since October 21st. Nowhere near sufficient to meet the basic humanitarian needs. So we need a scaling up of the amount of aid coming in through Rafah. We also would like to see the Kerem Shalom crossing inside of Israel, which is where previously most of the goods were coming from prior to October 7th. That crossing needs to be reopened. Israel has a responsibility as the occupying power controlling Gaza to provide for the welfare of the occupied population. And if they are unwilling to provide that humanitarian assistance, they need to allow other international aid agencies to do so. So we need scaling up of aid. We need the crossings to be open. And then, of course, we need a ceasefire. Humanitarians cannot go and deliver aid so long as there's active hostilities happening. We need all parties to agree to a ceasefire so that aid can be safely delivered, not just in southern Gaza and central Gaza, south of Wadi Gaza, but in northern Gaza, where people have been effectively cut off for weeks at this point and are struggling to find just basic food and water.
The UN's calling or saying that there's the immediate possibility of starvation if things don't improve. And obviously with malnutrition, but hospitals are being attacked as well. They're out of service because of a lack of fuel. How bad could this get, and how concerned are you that this might get worse before it gets better?
You know, it feels like every day we're warning about how it's going to get worse before it gets better. And it seems that, yes, indeed, it is going to get worse. We desperately need so much aid. We need food, water, medicine. Hospitals need to be able to operate. At this point, we're already at the point of a humanitarian catastrophe. I'm a communications professional, but I'm running out of the words to describe how seriously concerned and dire the situation is. It's now that we have lost contact with our colleagues on the ground, we really have no idea how difficult the situation is becoming, but we know that there's lack of supplies, lack of food, lack of water, lack of medicine, and people meanwhile are crowding into overpacked shelters which are bursting at the seams. This is ripe for the spread of communicable diseases, waterborne illnesses. We've already seen and reported on rises in those figures. And now with winter on the way and quickly arriving, we'll have issues related to floods in Gaza, where flooding is a regular occurrence even without damaged infrastructure. And so what we're seeing is really the potential for things to get much, much worse before anything gets better.
Shaina, thank you very much for talking to us.